The National Electrical Code, or NEC, does allow Romex, also known as non-metallic sheath cable, to be used in commercial buildings but under specific conditions. According to NEC Section 334.12 ATWO, Romex can be used in commercial kitchens, panel boards, and switchboards. NEC Section 334.12 AFU states that Romex can be used as a feeder to commercial fixtures, appliances, and devices where the conduit or raceway is less than 25 feet long and the system voltage is not more than 250 volts. Furthermore, NEC Section 334.12b6 allows Romex to be used in other commercial spaces, such as offices, where a flexible wiring method is required. There have been no significant changes made to the NEC regarding the use of Romex in commercial buildings in the last 10 years. Electrical installations that were compliant with the NEC at the time of their installation are generally considered to be grandfathered and are not required to be updated to meet current codes. However, this grandfathering does not exempt the installation from safety hazards. If deciding to make new installations in metal-clad or NEC cable, there are several steps that you will need to follow. Firstly, you must remove the non-metallic junction boxes. This involves cutting out the original junction boxes and replacing them with metallic junction boxes that are compatible with NEC cable. Secondly, it is important to use appropriate fittings. Utilize fittings specifically designed for use with NEC cable, such as connectors, couplings, and bushings. Thirdly, ensure the NEC cable is properly secured and supported. This is done using clamps and straps to hold the cable in place. If there is uncertainty whether Romex is permitted in a specific commercial space, it is best to consult with a licensed electrician or refer directly to the NEC for clarification. It is always prudent to err on the side of caution and use the most appropriate wiring method for the intended application. When working with electrical systems, safety should be paramount. Non-metallic sheath cable, such as Romex, is commonly used in residential applications, but its suitability for commercial buildings depends on various factors outlined in the NEC. These factors include the type of occupancy, the voltage levels, and specific installation requirements. The NEC provides detailed guidelines on the permissible uses of different wiring methods, including non-metallic sheath cable and metal-clad cable. Understanding these guidelines is essential for ensuring electrical safety and compliance. While Romex may be acceptable in certain commercial settings, it is crucial to verify that it meets the specific requirements outlined in the NEC. Factors such as the building's construction type, fire rating, and environmental conditions can influence the choice of wiring method. In some cases, metal-clad cable may be preferred or required due to its enhanced durability and protection against physical damage. When evaluating existing electrical installations, it's important to consider whether they comply with the NEC in effect at the time of installation. Installations that met the code requirements when they were originally installed are generally considered to be grandfathered. However, this does not mean that they are exempt from safety inspections or necessary upgrades. If modifications or additions are made to an existing electrical system, they must comply with the current edition of the NEC. This may involve replacing non-compliant wiring methods with approved alternatives, such as metal-clad cable. When making new installations, it's essential to follow best practices for cable routing, support, and termination. Proper installation techniques help to prevent electrical hazards and ensure the long-term reliability of the wiring system. Metal-clad cable should be securely fastened to structural members using appropriate clamps and straps. Connectors and fittings should be properly tightened to ensure a reliable electrical connection. In addition to following the NEC, it's also important to adhere to any local codes or regulations that may apply. Local jurisdictions may have additional requirements for electrical installations, particularly in commercial buildings. Consulting with a qualified electrician can help to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. When planning electrical work in a commercial building, it's advisable to conduct a thorough assessment of the existing electrical system. This assessment should include a review of the building's electrical plans, a visual inspection of the wiring and equipment, and testing of critical components. Identifying any potential hazards or code violations early on can help to prevent costly repairs and ensure the safety of building occupants. If the existing electrical system contains non-compliant wiring methods, such as Romex installed in prohibited areas, it may be necessary to develop a plan for upgrading the system. This plan should outline the scope of work, the materials to be used, and the timeline for completion. It's important to prioritize safety and minimize disruptions to building operations during the upgrade process. When working with electrical systems, it's essential to use the correct tools and equipment. Electrical tools should be properly insulated and rated for the voltage levels being worked with. Personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves, should be worn at all times. Before starting any electrical work, it's important to de-energize the circuit or equipment being worked on. This can be accomplished by turning off the appropriate circuit breaker or disconnecting the power supply. Always verify that the circuit is de-energized before touching any wires or components. In addition to following safety precautions, it's also important to pay attention to detail. Electrical connections should be clean, tight, and properly insulated. Wires should be neatly organized and labeled to facilitate troubleshooting and future maintenance. By taking the time to do the job right, you can help to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. The NEC is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and industry best practices. Staying up to date with the latest edition of the NEC is essential for electrical professionals. Continuing education courses and training programs can help to keep electricians informed about code changes and new installation techniques. In addition to the NEC, there are other industry standards and guidelines that may be relevant to electrical installations. These standards may cover topics such as grounding, bonding, and surge protection. Familiarizing yourself with these standards can help to ensure that your electrical work meets the highest levels of quality and safety. When working in commercial buildings, it's important to be aware of the specific hazards that may be present. These hazards can include exposure to high-voltage equipment, confined spaces, and hazardous materials. Taking appropriate precautions can help to minimize the risk of accidents and injuries. Communication is key when working on electrical projects. Clearly communicate with other workers, building occupants, and supervisors to ensure that everyone is aware of the potential hazards and safety procedures. By working together as a team, you can help to create a safe and productive work environment. When completing an electrical project, it's important to document all work that has been performed. This documentation should include a record of the materials used, the tests that were performed, and any code violations that were corrected. Maintaining accurate records can help to facilitate future maintenance and troubleshooting. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By following the NEC, adhering to industry best practices, and taking appropriate precautions, you can help to prevent electrical accidents and ensure the safety of building occupants. Remember to consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns about electrical safety. They can provide expert guidance and help you to make informed decisions about your electrical system. It is also essential to understand that while the NEC provides a comprehensive set of rules and guidelines, it is not a substitute for sound judgment and experience. Electrical work requires a high level of skill and expertise, and it should only be performed by qualified professionals. Attempting to perform electrical work without the proper training and experience can be dangerous and can lead to serious injuries or even death. When evaluating the use of Romex in a commercial setting, it's important to consider the specific environment in which it will be installed. Factors such as moisture, temperature, and exposure to chemicals can affect the long-term performance of the cable. In damp or corrosive environments, it may be necessary to use a different type of cable that is specifically designed for those conditions. Metal-clad cable, for example, is often preferred in environments where moisture or physical damage is a concern. The NEC provides detailed information on the types of cables that are suitable for different environments. It's important to consult the NEC and choose a cable that is appropriate for the specific application. In addition to considering the environment, it's also important to consider the electrical load that the cable will be carrying. The NEC specifies the ampacity of different types of cables, which is the maximum amount of current that the cable can safely carry. It's important to choose a cable that has an ampacity that is sufficient for the intended load. Using a cable that is too small can result in overheating and potentially cause a fire. When installing electrical cables, it's important to follow proper wiring practices. Wires should be neatly organized and properly supported. Cables should be protected from physical damage. Connections should be tight and secure. Improper wiring practices can lead to electrical hazards and can reduce the reliability of the electrical system. The NEC provides detailed information on proper wiring practices. It's important to consult the NEC and follow its guidelines when installing electrical cables. In addition to following the NEC, it's also important to follow any manufacturer's instructions for the installation of electrical equipment. Manufacturers' instructions often provide specific details on the proper installation and operation of the equipment. Ignoring manufacturers' instructions can void the warranty and can potentially lead to safety hazards. When working with electrical systems, it's important to be aware of the potential for electric shock. Electric shock can occur when a person comes into contact with an energized conductor. The severity of the shock depends on the voltage, the current, and the duration of the contact. Electric shock can cause burns, muscle contractions, and even death. To prevent electric shock, it's important to always de-energize circuits before working on them. Use insulated tools and wear personal protective equipment. Be aware of the potential for stray currents and take steps to minimize the risk of contact. If you experience an electric shock, seek medical attention immediately. When working with electrical systems, it's also important to be aware of the potential for arc flash. Arc flash is a dangerous phenomenon that can occur when a short circuit occurs in an electrical system. The arc flash can generate intense heat and light, and it can cause severe burns and other injuries. To prevent arc flash, it's important to wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as a face shield, gloves, and a fire-resistant suit. Use caution when working near energized equipment. Follow proper procedures for operating and maintaining electrical equipment. If you are not qualified to work on electrical equipment, do not attempt to do so. In some cases, it may be necessary to hire a qualified electrician to perform electrical work. A qualified electrician has the training and experience to perform electrical work safely and effectively. They can also help to ensure that the electrical system complies with all applicable codes and regulations. When hiring an electrician, it's important to check their credentials and references. Make sure that they are licensed and insured. Ask them about their experience and their approach to safety. Get a written estimate before the work begins. By taking the time to find a qualified electrician, you can help to ensure that your electrical work is done right. As noted previously, remember that the information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer before making any decisions about your electrical system. The NEC, or National Electrical Code, is the most comprehensive resource for electrical safety information, so be sure to consult the latest edition for the most up-to-date requirements and recommendations. In summation, remember that when considering Romex in a commercial setting, carefully evaluate the environment, electrical load, and applicable codes. Prioritize safety at all times by de-energizing circuits, using insulated tools, and wearing personal protective equipment. When in doubt, seek the guidance of a qualified electrician to ensure that your electrical system is safe and compliant.